When it comes to having goals and dreams, as they say, go big or go home. If you are new to the channel, then welcome, and if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. I am glad you are here. In my previous video, I talked about what I believe it's going to take in order to build a $1 million online business by myself in 2024. If you are watching this video and you did not see my previous video explaining that entire process of how I plan to do that, then you should definitely check that out. One thing I know for certain when it comes to building a large revenue stream, there are two very important things you need to do. One, you need to have multiple streams of income. As they say, the average millionaire has at least 7 different streams. Two, you need to separate your time from your money. So unlike the typical 9-to-5 worker, right, who literally exchanges their time for money, we all only have 24 hours in a day, right? Time is the most valuable asset on earth. So with that being said, it is all about learning how to break away from that time for money exchange. So I am in the process of building 2 separate but connected online agencies, as well as planning an entire content creation, production, and distribution strategy for social media, ebooks, and online courses. This video goes behind the scenes of how I am building online agencies, how their workflow operates, and what tools I'm using to do everything with that. So let's dive into my computer so I can show you exactly what is going on behind the scenes. Just to give you a little bit of background context, this is my first agency, solomane.com. It is a subscription-based digital consulting agency. So essentially my goal with this business is to help other entrepreneurs, small business owners, small businesses elevate their business through the power of technology without the hassles of hiring in-house or navigating traditional consultancy contracts. And so my thought process behind this was inspired by another company called designjoy.co, which I learned about on the YouTube channel Starter Story. Definitely suggest you check them out. I will link Brett and Design Joy's video interview down below because it was super helpful, super inspiring. He's actually how I discovered Trello, which has literally changed my life. The only thing I can say that's changed my life more than Trello was probably ChatGPT, but that's another conversation for another day. So this agency is inspired very heavily by Brett's company Design Joy, which, as it sounds, Design Joy is a subscription-based design agency. Basically, you subscribe to this and then you get unlimited design requests for your business. So like websites, logos and branding, right? Wireframes, stationery, pitch decks, like social media graphics, blog graphics, packaging, brand guides, like anything you need from a visual design perspective, you can just subscribe to this. It's a flat rate monthly fee and you get as many requests as you want. And some of the things that really stood out to me with this brand is the standard monthly fee, right? 1 request at a time, unlimited brands, unlimited users. You can pause or cancel anytime. That was a big feature that I love, which I dove a little bit more into in his FAQ section, because that was like one of my questions. Like, what if you only have 1 request a month? Why are you gonna spend $5,000? And that's one of his big benefits slash features is, let's say you sign up, you only have 1 request right now, it takes about 2 or 3 days, but you don't have any more requests for the month, but you can pause your subscription and basically, so if it's based on a 30-day rotation, you still have 27 days worth of your, let's say it took 3 days, you have 27 days left of your subscription. So let's say next month you need something else, you can come back, reactivate your subscription, make the request again, maybe it takes 2 or 3 days, and then pause again. And you can keep doing that, pause, and unpause, so you're not wasting that monthly pay of $5,000. So that was something that I was interested in, that I dove into, looking into. The other thing that really was a key seller for me was his async communication. So don't like meetings, we don't either, so much that they've outlawed them. His entire system is automated and managed with Trello boards, which if you are unfamiliar with Trello, then you are definitely going to want to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button, because I have an entire Trello for Beginners series coming out in next week. Already been recorded and everything, so you're gonna wanna watch that because literally Trello has changed my life. I'm just gonna say, not that I think Brett will ever watch this video, but if you ever do, thank you so much for teaching me about Trello because it has seriously, like I said, changed my life. But the way he has this set up is totally async, right? Customer signs up, they get access to their personal Trello board and then can immediately start making design requests within their Trello board, and then Brett gets that notification and starts designing it and everything just seamlessly works. You don't need to have phone calls, you don't need to have Zoom meetings. Everything happens asynchronously. And as somebody who hates meetings and has a crazy weird sleep schedule, and I'm usually like awake in the middle of the night and sleep during the day, I was like, yes, this business model works for me. So those were really my big selling points / features that I was interested in. So with that being said, that is where I pulled Solomain from, which is similar style business model, but digital consulting. So as somebody who has experience with digital marketing, web design, social media, content creation, videography, all of this kind of AI, things like that, I was like, oh, like I can help other people, other companies benefit from the same thing, right? I've sold digital products. I know how to do email marketing, build sales funnels, like host digital products online, etc. Like I know all that stuff. So that was where I got the idea from, was I can provide digital consulting services and help people navigate the online space, because for a lot of people who are not as tech savvy, it can be very overwhelming and very confusing. And so with that being said, I also just looked at it from a pricing perspective. I just did some research about if you hire a digital consultant in the real world, right, what does it look like? And just looking at traditional contracts can be anywhere between $50 to $300 an hour. If you consider 8-hour work days, right, that can, even on $200, which is like the average, that can be up to $35,000 a month. That's insane. That is insane. And then even hiring an in-house expert, right? Monthly salary, we're averaging about $100,000 per year salary, and that's actually on the low side. Senior people are like $150. Still looking at like almost $11,000 per month. Whereas my service, as I'm starting it up, I'm charging $2,995, right? So a little less than $3,000 a month. No contracts. Pause or cancel anytime, asynchronous communication. My goal is to help people empower their business, elevate their business through the internet and online technology for way cheaper, right? So that's my digital consulting business agency that I'm putting together. So that's part one. Part two, the other half of that, the other agency that I'm putting together, is my Apex House free business builder program. And now this is tailored specifically for digital and content creators. So my thought process behind this is, again, like I talked about all of the things that I know how to do from an online business perspective, there are a lot of people, a lot of digital creators, content creators, who have incredible audiences, huge audiences, but don't necessarily have all of these same business skills, online business skills that I have. And so I look at this as a collaborative partnership perspective, where my goal is to connect with creators who already have an audience. They have to meet certain minimum requirements that I've set, and then they can apply for this free business builder program. And if they, meet the terms, we'll have an initial consultation call. And if we both think that we kind of our goals and desires align and we vibe well together, right? If it looks like it's going to be a good setup, then we will set up a collaboration, work together, and I will build them an entire business for free. I will build them an entire digital product, a website, a social media campaign, or digital marketing campaign, automated sales system, right? I'll do everything in the back end, whereas their goal, their focus will be promoting it once it's built on the front end, because their strength is content creation, audience building, right? My strength is the behind the scenes digital marketing, business tech perspective. So my thought process with this is they will come here, right? They can watch the video, which basically just explains the whole process and says they can apply here. Here's how it works, right? So I've got my minimum requirements. These are the minimum requirements I'm starting with. These are probably going to change over time as I start to get people applying and test the waters and see how it goes. I have not officially launched either of these yet. So they are live, but I have not started promoting them yet. So neither of these I do not have clients or collaborators with either of these yet, because I've just finished putting them together. But these are like my minimum requirements. So they have to be active on at least one social media platform, which would mean 3 posts per week. They have to have a minimum audience size of 2,000 people or more combined across all of their platforms. Have an average engagement rate of 5% or higher. They have to be available for monthly Zoom calls. And I would like to work with people who are also ambitious, interested in entrepreneurship and online business, right? Again, looking at it from a collaborative perspective. They fill out the form, wait for my email, that's it, and then we go from there. So those are the 2 businesses I am kind of putting together. And my thought process with this one is I do all of the work in the back end, and then I benefit on the front end once the product or sales or wherever the income stream starts to come in. I will receive a portion of that for either a specific amount of time or perhaps a specific dollar amount. I haven't really ironed out those details yet, and honestly, it might be on a case-by-case basis, just on how me and the creator kind of collaborate or interact with each other, how it works for both of us. With that being said, those are the two agencies that I am putting together. And now that you can understand the behind the scenes, next thing I'm going to do is, or now you understand the overarching idea and picture, next thing that we're going to do is to actually dive in behind the scenes, and I'm going to show you how I have set each of these up, how kind of the workflow for each of them works, and like what tools and resources I'm using to operate them. So the first business, or for the first agency we're going to look at, is Solomains. Again, inspired by Design Joy. One of the first things I needed to figure out was my payment processing. Like I said, he has the ability to pause or cancel subscriptions at any time. And so my thought process was like, okay, how do you do that? Honestly, all I did was go to his website and try to sign up for his program just to see what payment processor it brought me to, which if we go to, it is Stripe. I was like, okay, he's using Stripe, so obviously Stripe has to incorporate those features, right? Now, conveniently for me, I already owned a Stripe account because I have been running online businesses for many years, and most of the payment gateways I already have, whether it be PayPal, Square, Stripe, like I already have accounts in all of them. But I did come to Stripe.com, and let's just say I created an account, right? I started with Stripe. So once in my Stripe account, I basically just came in here and created a product. So just came to my product catalog, and this is where you can set stuff up. So once I created the product, that set up all the settings, which I'm not going to dive super crazy into in this video. If you need to understand how to set up a product in Stripe, let me know in the comments below, and I can create a separate video for that. But with that being said, once you create your product, you can come to your payment link, and then you can change the details of what it looks like. You can come in here and click Edit. And this is what will bring you to show you what the page looks like from the payment link, or once you go to the payment link. I put the product information, right? It gives you some options here if you want to include a free trial, etc., etc. Advanced options, right? Not super important, but one of the things I did do was, after they make a payment, what do I want to happen? So you can either show a confirmation page, or I want to actually set up so that it redirects them. And the reason I did that is because the second part that I love about Design Joy is, again, the automation. Everything is automated. And what I wanted to happen is when somebody makes this purchase, what do I want them to be able to do? Well, I immediately want them to understand what's next, understand what next steps they need to do, and what actions they need to take, and what they need to know, right? I actually created a page on the website which is a welcome, basically the welcome, right? So once they have bought it, it sends them to this, which it shows a video of getting started, and also lets them know to check their email and everything like that, right? So I built the website with WordPress, by the way. That is where this is built. And this video I created because I was like, okay, I'm gonna need to teach the customer what they need to do next. So if we pause, I'm gonna pause that so we can't hear the volume. This video basically just shows them like the next steps, what they need to do, what the email will look like. The email then has a link which shows them is another video which dives deeper into how to use Trello, how to get into their board, whatever, and things like that. And then if we go into their actual Trello board, I then have it set up so that once they have purchased, there's an automation that happens, which I'll dive into in a little bit, that creates them a new board, gives them access to it, and then it looks like this. And this is what their initial Trello board looks like. So this is when they initially start, they come in here and lets them know that, like, that video that I just showed you tells them to start here, right? This video says, oh, when you log in, go to start here, right? And they go to start here, and this leads them to another video that teaches them the step-by-step process of how they will start to use Trello for us to start interacting with each other. Very much an automated process. I had to record some of these videos, so if we go here, like it says, click here to watch the introduction video. They'll watch that, they'll learn about how to create cards and everything, which, by the way, again, if you are interested in learning about Trello, hit subscribe and stay tuned for that video series I have coming out in a few weeks. Shows them about uploading their branding assets, managing their subscriptions, contacting me, etc. So that is how I set up the payment processor and everything like that. Basically set up a Stripe account, built the product, and then got the link for it, in which that link, if we come back to the Solomane homepage, if you go here, get started, that is what that link leads to. So this is the payment page, shows the price, put all their information, they agree, they subscribe, and then that's what leads them to that welcome page where they see the video about how to get started, and then they also get an automated email. From an automation perspective, this is where one of my absolute favorite tools in the entire world comes into play, and that is Zapier. If you are unfamiliar with Zapier, think of it like a bridge or a hub that allows you to connect to a bunch of different apps and things like that so that they can interact with each other. If you're familiar with Google Home or like Amazon Alexa, if you have Hue lights in your house or anything like that, Zapier essentially allows you to connect a bunch of different things so that they can automate with each other. One of the things I did was, if I log into my Zapier, you can see I've got a couple, they call them zaps. So basically a zap is like an event that happens. Like the similar, if you do have automations in Trello, you can do is basically automations or if-then things that happen here. So here we have my new, it's called my new Solomane customer board, right? And then the new Solomane customer welcome email. So what I have it set up, so I have both of these set up with Stripe. So first thing I did is connect my Stripe account, and then I connected my Gmail account and also my Trello board. So with this one, this is set up so that anytime a new subscriber subscribes to the Solomane Consulting, then it sends them an email. So if I open this up, just to show you what's going on behind the scenes, here we have the trigger. And so if I click that, it's basically saying, okay, what's the app, Stripe, what's the event, new customer. And then, so when that trigger happens, what do I want to happen? If we click here, the next step or the reaction, the event that happens. So the event that happens is I connected my email, right? And I say, I want the event to be a send email from this email account. And then you put the details in here, which this is all automatically built in. So email, it emails the customer's email from my support email address from Solomane, right? Creates a reply to, creates a subject, welcome to Solomane, and then puts their information, right? Dear someone's welcome to Solomane, blah, blah, right? And basically just gives them email instructions, how to access the videos, like what's next, etc. So this is their welcome email that they get, but then I also have a second zap that also happens. So not only do they get that email, but they also get a new board. And so I have that set up over here. Open that back up. Again, if you're not familiar with how Trello works, definitely check out my video series I have coming up. But what you need to know, if you don't know how Trello works, what you need to know is that in Trello you can set up what's called templates, or you can create templates and then use those templates to recreate new boards. So what I did was in Trello created this new customer template, right? So it's my default template, and this is blank. So this is how I want it to look every time a new customer signs up. So then what I did in Zapier was, again, same thing. It's watching Stripe, and so the trigger is in Stripe. So similarly, it's like to sending the email, I have it set up so that anytime there's a new customer in Stripe, then it activates this event, which copies this board in Trello. So it's connected to my Trello. The event is that it copies a board. What board does it want it to copy? I have it setting to copy that new customer template, which is this one. So it basically goes in, it looks at all of my boards, which the only one I would have in here would be this new customer template. And then it creates a new one based on the customer's name, which it pulls from the data within Stripe. It sets the permission level, right? And it sets the organization that we don't need to get into, but this is how I'm automating that process in the background. So anytime a new customer signs up, they get that welcome email, that happens here, and then they also get a new board created for them that also happens here. So that is pretty much how I have automation set up, or like I said, as asynchronous as it can be, similarly to DesignJoy. Now, the other main kind of automation feature that I have built in is also this try for free. I know that most people do not like to just spend money, especially a large amount of money, like $3,000, on something that they don't quite understand or know what they're going to get. And so I have a system built in also where they can try for free, this is one of the things I'm going to be using once I start advertising for this as my free lead magnet. So they can try it for free, and then also booking a call. And so the try for free and the booking a call are also some background automation things that are happening. So when it comes to booking a call, this essentially just goes directly to my Calendly account where they can book a conference call with me, right? Pretty standard. This is just using calendly.com. They can come in here, see when I'm available, book a 15-minute call, just so I can basically explain to them the background, show them how it works, tell them what they're gonna get, etc. Now, if they decide not to do this, but instead want to try it for free, want to actually see how it's gonna work, they can also come here, and this brings us to the free trial page. Now, this kind of works similarly to how I'm operating with the Apex House Free Business Builder program. So basically a 3-step process. First, they have to fill out a questionnaire, they have to schedule their call, and then on the call, I'll basically go over all of the results and everything, give them their report, etc. The way I have this set up, the big automation in this one is just setting up the call, really. So they have to put their name, email, their business, and then basically tell me their issues. What are they struggling with? What is their goals? What are they trying to achieve? So basically just gives me a bit of background information on them for me to be able to then take that and be like, okay, let me put something together and show them how they could overcome this, how they can improve, get closer to their goals, what tools they can use, right? What marketing techniques they could use, etc. They submit it. Once they submit it, again, using Zapier, this all happens in the background. It sends them an email that says, hey, thanks for submitting and actually, I don't even think this uses Zapier. I think it uses a plugin on WordPress. So it just sends them an email, says, thanks for setting up, schedule your free call. That free call goes back to Calendly again, that same link, where they can schedule their call, and then on that call, I will give them their results, send them their report, discuss everything, and hopefully show them how valuable it would be for them to continue utilizing my service and signing up for the monthly subscription. So that is basically Solomane in a nutshell, how that is all operating. Now, if we go to the Apex House Free Business Builder, not as complex, right? Because really the only thing that this process is setting up is the initial business call. But the big automation that's happening here is my filtering. So as we talked about before, I have some minimum requirements, right? My minimum requirements are 3 posts per week, at least an audience size of 2,000 or more, having an average engagement rate, being available for calls, being ambitious, right? I don't want to waste my time. Again, we talked about time being the most valuable asset. I don't want to waste my time having people schedule calls with me who don't meet these requirements, right? I only want to send an invitation to apply, or only want to send an invitation for somebody to schedule a calendar call with me if they meet those minimum requirements. And to do that, I actually have this all set up with Kartra, which Kartra is an incredible tool. It is an amazing online business suite. If you have any interest in building an online business, I highly suggest Kartra. I love it. I use it for all of my digital products, for all of my automation, email funnels, sales funnels, stuff like that. If you want to check it out, I will leave a link in the description below. I also have an entire training series also coming out, so if you want to see that, hit like, hit subscribe, and hit the bell notifications so you can be made aware when that whole series comes out in a few weeks from now. So with that being said, they basically have to fill out all this information, right? First name, last name, email, what social media platforms are they active on, what are their handles if they have them, right? What is their total audience size, what's their average engagement rate, are they willing to attend conference calls, how would you rate your interest in entrepreneurship, right? So just basically prerequisite things. Confirm they're 18, submit their application. What's more important in this part for you to understand is what's happening behind the scenes. And I'm going to open up my Kartra account and show you exactly how I have set this up on the back end to weed out the people who, I don't want to say weed out, filter out the people who do not meet my minimum qualifications. So here's one of my Kartra accounts. This is like one of my brand new accounts that I'm literally setting all of this stuff up in, so there's not much in here yet. But with that being said, we're gonna come over to forms. So that's gonna be our first place. And we'll see so this form right here, which is all of this stuff that they fill out is built in Kartra. That's step one. So that's step one. So we just click this view, we can see that's what it is. Now, each of these fields has an ID, has a tag, right? So this one's probably tagged like first name, tag last name, tag email. This one's probably tagged like social media. This one's probably tagged like follower count, something like that, right? And that's a key thing to note for setting this all up is all of these have an identifier. Once they have an identifier, I then have we go into our communications and we have what's called email sequences. And so we'll go to communications and I go to sequences. We now see right here, I have the Apex House free business builder application. So this is people who have applied for the Apex House free business builder pilot program. If I open this up, go to edit, and you can see it's basically, again, an if-then process. If this happens or if this is met, then this happens. So I'm gonna minimize that. We can see we've got some options we can do. So these are basically actions, right? So we want to send an email, we want to add or remove a tag, right? We want to create a true or false split. This is really the big one that we this one. So if I'm gonna minimize that, basically we start over here on the left, and this, if you can see, let me zoom in a little bit. So it says starting rules, right? So this is basically the event that happens in order to start this process. So if I go into edit here, we can just see I have two starting rules. So either A, the lead fills in the form, Apex House FBB application, which again is this form, right? So the lead fills in this form. Or another one I have is if they get a tag, which they are assigned the FBB applicant. Now, by default, anybody who fills in this form also gets assigned that tag. But the reason why I have that set up is so that if I manually come in here and put that tag on somebody, it will also start that process for them. So if I have somebody who maybe like reaches out to me by email or something instead, I could just add them to my list, add the tag, and that would also start this process for them. With that being said, that is the starting rule. Now, so immediately our first thing that we do is it goes up to here and goes to what's called the true-false split. So this is that if-then question, right? It's saying, if this condition is met, then do something, right? So if I open that up, I can just click the view. This is checking to see whether or not this person has already applied. Because one of the things I thought about is if somebody applies and then they get an email that says, sorry, you've been denied, I don't want them to just immediately go apply again because that would be annoying. I have it set to immediately, so right after this previous step, when do you want it to happen, any time of day, conditions, does not have tag, AFFB denied. One of the things that I set up is that at the end of this cycle, if somebody is approved, they get an approved tag, and if they are denied, they get a denied tag. And so now what this is doing is it's looking at the applicant to make sure they don't already have a denied tag. The condition is does not have the tag. So if they do not have the tag, it means it's true. But if they do have the tag, it would be false. So we're gonna close that out. So here we go. So first we can see it splits and we've got a false here and we've got a true here. So false means that they do have the tag, right? Because the condition is they cannot have the tag. So if they do not meet that condition, this is false because they do have the tag, then it sends them this email by default, which if we open that up, you can see basically it's just saying, hey, thanks for submitting. Unfortunately, you have applied again too soon, right? So we're sorry, our records show you've already applied. Please wait 60 days. Great. So then after it sends that email, we can then, if you see this line, it scrolls immediately. We go all the way down here and it marks the sequence as complete. Because anytime a sequence is done, every time somebody's gone through the entire process, you want it to be complete. So you'll notice that this is the last one. We've got a couple different options here. But if we come back up here, let's say the condition that was met is true, meaning they do not have that tag. If they do not have that tag, then they get this email immediately after. So by default, if they don't have the tag, if this is the first time that they've submitted, then it will show them or send them this email, and it basically says, thank you for applying. This is letting you know your application is received. We are reviewing it. You'll get an email from us within the next 3 to 5 business days. Now, that review process is not being manually done by me, right? Talking about time-saving automation. It's happening all here in the background. So the next thing it goes is to another true-false split. And this is essentially what happens over and over again. And each of these true-false splits represents one of these questions, right? So the first one is gonna check this social media platform. So if we look at it, so we open this up and the first condition, so the delay, it's waiting 2 days. So this doesn't happen until 2 days later, because in the email, I say 3 to 5 days. So I actually technically set it to 2 days because if you're familiar with marketing, online business, or just any business in general, you want to under-promise and over-deliver. So even though my email says 3 to 5 days, I know behind the scenes, technically it's only happening within 2 days. This is just a way to build rapport. You tell somebody something's gonna happen, you get it done sooner, that makes you look good, right? Here's a simple way, simple trick to start doing that. You can do that in any aspect of your business, right? Say it's gonna be 2 weeks, get it done in 1, right? The conditions it's checking is it's checking for the custom field, social media platforms, does not contain none, right? This is just saying as long as they have filled out, any one of these, then they are approved. That means they pass, right? But if they click none, this is that determining factor. Did this person select none? If they select none, then that makes it false. And if they don't select none, then that makes it true, right? We look at here, we've just got that split again. So false, meaning they selected none, it immediately sends them this email, right? Not qualified, assigns them the tag denied, and then marks it as complete. So that's where that assignment happened. And I just do that over and over again. So the next split, so if they were true, meaning they didn't select none, they go to the next split. This split is just verifying that, let's see what the next one is. The next one is how many followers do they have? So they've got a couple different options. Now, if you remember, one of my requirements I said is they have to have at least 2,000 or more. The way I set this up is as long as they didn't select any of these. So as long as that's not selected, because you can only select one, right? So as long as that's not selected, that's not selected, that's not selected, or that's not selected, they move on to the next one. So they have to have any of these selected. And if we just open that up, so here again, we have right after previous step, conditions. The custom field is not the first one, is not the second one, is not the third one, is not the fourth one. So we've got option 1, option 2, option 3, option 4, and that we can see here, option 1, option 2, option 3, option 4. And those are determined by tags. So just to show you real quick how that works, I'm not gonna dive into like specifically how the step-by-step process of how to set this up. I am building an entire Kartra for Beginners series that will be available here and on zylercade.com. Depending on when you're watching this, visit the website to check that out if you're interested. But if you just go into here, just so you can see that happening, if I go into edit, this is what it looks like. So it starts by asking like, what do you want to happen? So, right, we select it being custom field, select custom field. So these are where those tags that I mentioned earlier, right? So the tag is audience size ranges that I did for that one. So we have audience size ranges, select condition, is not, and then select one of the fields, right? So then you add that. So let's say I wanted to do the 2000, right? I would add that. And now it adds that one as well. So as long as they don't meet any of these. And that is how you would set that up. And so literally it is just that process over and over again. Do they meet this requirement? Yes or no? If they don't meet it, then they automatically get sent the not qualified email and get assigned the tag. If they do meet it, they move on to the next one. And that happens over and over again until they get down to the final one, where if they meet it and they're marked true, they are then assigned the tag as qualified, and they receive the approved email, which then includes the link, this is where Calendly comes in again, to set up or schedule a Zoom meeting with me, an initial 30-minute conference call for them to be able to look at my calendar, schedule a Zoom meeting, and then we can go from there. And then once again, it goes to the complete. That is essentially what is going on in the background using Kartra, so that I do not have to manually look at every single application that comes through here, because especially my hope is that this is an incredible opportunity. And my hope is that once I start promoting this, whether it be on social media or through paid advertising like Facebook ads, Instagram ads, TikTok ads, stuff like that, I'm gonna start getting a lot of applications. And it would take a lot of time and effort for me to manually go through every application to see if somebody qualifies or not. So by setting it up this way, I will by default filter out anybody who doesn't meet these minimum requirements. And then from the people who do, there'll be even less people who schedule calls, right? Because it's never 100%. Out of the people who are qualified who get the email to schedule a call, let's say only 50% of them actually go through and schedule the call, right? I'm constantly dwindling it down to only the people who are not only most qualified, but also have the most ambition, the most drive to actually move forward and take the steps to actually collaborate with me to build an online business, to build a digital product, etc. With that being said, that is my entire setup for both how I am building my Solomon digital consulting agency, as well as the Apex House free business builder program. In the next video, I am going to do the same thing I did here and go behind the scenes of my part 2, the second half of this overall $1 million solo online business in 2024. plan, strategy, and that is going to be showing you the entire behind the scenes of my content creation, production, and distribution process and strategy for creating all of my social media content, which this is part of that, as well as my ebooks that I'm writing and my online courses that I'm building and will eventually be available for sale. If you want to see all of that, hit the subscribe button, hit notifications, stay tuned for that next video, which comes out in a few days. With that being said, tons of more valuable resources at zylercade.com. Hope you found this helpful. If you did, hit the like button. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one. Take care.